Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, today it gives me great pleasure to bring to this Honorable House and to lay on its table the Progressives-led government's midterm report, Steering a True Course.
So ordered.
Madam Speaker, with your permission, I'd like to speak to the report.
Please proceed, Honorable Premier.
Madam Speaker, this government has made excellent progress over the past 2 years in moving forward our plans for this term. And if you line up this midterm report with the manifesto of the Progressives, you will quickly see that we are delivering on our promises. The country is making progress, Madam Speaker, progress that is based on turning around an economy that was at a standstill and in threat of backsliding under the previous administration. Today, we have an economy that is stronger, more sustainable, and growing, with our gross domestic product up a respectable 2.1% in 2014, with all indicators pointing to further increases next year and beyond. In simple terms, under our stewardship, the economy is improving and growing. The USA, by comparison, which has one of the largest and most diversified economies in the world, recorded a 2.4% growth at the end of last year. So given our size, comparably, we have done very well, and we expect this to continue through 2016. This growth has not happened by chance or luck, Madam Speaker. It is the direct result of this administration's sound and sensible planning and our disciplined implementation of those plans. When this government took over in May 2013, this country's finances were in dire straits because of the management of the now leader of the opposition when he was Premier and Minister of Finance and Minister of almost everything else. During our tenure, revenues have increased from $618.4 million in 2012-13 when we took office, to $660.2 million in this fiscal year, and growing to $661.2 million in 2015-16. All this, Madam Speaker, despite government giving up revenues totaling $12.6 million over 2 years with the duty reduction on diesel CUC uses for electricity production. On the cost side, expenses were cut from $558.1 million in 2012-13 to $538.7 million in 2014, even with increased expenses of about $14.5 million in the new budget to fund a 4% cost of living adjustment for civil servants, funding for Cineco, Siemens ex gratia grants, e-government initiatives, and several other measures. Core government's budgeted expenses of $552.8 million for the next fiscal year are still less than total expenses for the last UDP budget under the now leader of the opposition. The government's net operating surplus has increased from about $60 million at June 2013 to $121.5 million in 2014-2015, and $108.4 million in the 2015-2016 budget, which we have just approved. Importantly, these numbers are even more impressive when you consider the combined $30 million negative impact to the surplus from revenue given up by government in various duty reductions and the increases in expenditure noted previously. And government has maintained a healthy surplus without any new borrowing and with no new taxes. In fact, Madam Speaker, this government has significantly reduced taxes. Debt is also being reduced from $575.2 million at June 2013 to $503.4 million at June 2016, a decrease of $71.8 million. And we have firm plans in place to reduce debt even further. As the Minister for Finance noted in his budget address, we have established a debt service sinking fund that now has a balance of $18 million that can be drawn on if needed. And as I have mentioned previously, government continues to operate without the need for an overdraft to fund recurrent expenditure. This has been achieved through prudent money management and has not only saved at least $800,000 in overdraft interest annually, but also tens of thousands in other bank fees. Additionally, interest rates were renegotiated with local banks to lower those rates for the remaining term of 5 of government's loans. Madam Speaker, as you also heard the Minister of Finance tell us some weeks ago, government's total cash balances are expected to grow to $341.6 million by the 30th of June 2016. So, Madam Speaker, since coming to office, we have delivered credible and sensible budget plans with strong revenue growth coupled with prioritized and controlled expenditure that have led to good surpluses. We have delivered on our promises to the country and on our legal and constitutional obligations to the United Kingdom. However, we have delivered them not just to satisfy the UK, but because they are right for our country. And so with a growing economy, we have seen more Caymanians being able to find jobs again. The unemployment rate for Caymanians fell from 9.4% in 2013 to 7.9% in 2014 because of increased economic activity such as construction works that have begun in recent years or from existing businesses that have started to rehire. Our government has also encouraged many new business startups to invest in Cayman, which has led to even more work for our people. But more jobs are needed, Madam Speaker, not just for this year or the next, but for the years to come as the country grows and our young men and women enter the workforce. That is why we have worked hard over the past 2 years and will continue to do so, to create an environment that enables the growth of existing businesses, encourage local business startups, and attract new businesses to our shores. And government is also doing its part. Pardon me, Madam Speaker. And government is also doing its part by investing in the necessary infrastructure, including roads, airports, the landfill, and cruise berthing, which will assist private growth. We now have a growing private sector that once again believes it can trust government to keep its word, negotiate in good faith, and stand by its commitments. This renewed confidence, Madam Speaker, coupled with our good stewardship of government finances and an overall feeling of stability, have helped create an atmosphere that stimulates local business and has attracted private sector investment. And so we now see several major initiatives comfortably moving forward or coming to the fore, creating jobs and thus further building confidence. These initiatives are well known and include the Kimpton Hotel, the redevelopment of the Old Hyatt property, the Ironwood Golf Community Project, Camana Bay expansion, including a new hotel, the Beach Bay Condos project, and others. But there's another new initiative to add to the mix with the sale and redevelopment of the Treasure Island Hotel, a new development which will transform the property into a quality branded hotel. Madam Speaker, each and every one of these projects has benefited from this government's support and encouragement, which has translated into hundreds of job opportunities for Caymanians. This growth has also provided more revenue to government, which along with sensible cost cutting has enabled this administration to leave more money in the pockets of businesses and individuals, all because we have been strategic and disciplined. Disciplined financial management has enabled us to restore the long overdue cost of living adjustment to civil servants at 4%. This will effectively put $7.5 million into the collective pockets of civil servants that should be spent in the local economy every year. Disciplined financial management has allowed us the ability to reduce the import duty on fuel Caribbean Utilities Company uses to generate electricity by 25 cents per gallon this past January and reduce another 25 cents per gallon next January. We will have erased the 45-cent increase put on by the UDP and are moving from a high of 75 cents per gallon under the UDP to 25 cents a gallon duty by January 2016 under our capable leadership. Madam Speaker, while bringing much needed relief to households, this duty reduction also brings cost savings to businesses. All told, the doubling of duty reduction equates to $8.4 million left in the pockets of individuals and businesses each year. With these savings, Madam Speaker, I urge businesses to take the opportunity to reduce prices to consumers. Disciplined financial management has allowed government the ability to reduce the import duty to licensed traders from 22% to 20% at a savings to businesses of at least $4 million annually, which will also allow for better prices to consumers. And disciplined financial management has meant that government has not only reduced its debt, but it has also not needed to borrow to fund operating activities or capital works. And importantly, it also means that we have not introduced any new tax measures on our people and businesses these past 2 years, and have no plans to introduce any over the remainder of this term. Disciplined financial management also means that from the next budget year, we will not require budget approval from the United Kingdom. I will repeat, Madam Speaker, the economic growth we are experiencing, the availability of more jobs for Caymanians, and the greatly improved financial position of government has not happened by chance or luck. It is the direct result of this administration's sound and sensible planning and our disciplined implementation of those plans. These plans include the development of a sustainable solid waste management system that we anticipate will serve us for at least the next 50 years. We all know that waste has been a problem for these islands for decades, but no government has been willing or able to tackle this issue, meaning that it has gotten worse as more and more rubbish from a growing population and visitor base has been added to the landfill, particularly here on Grand Cayman. The Progressives-led government, though, does have the courage to tackle our waste management problem. We are doing so in a systematic way that will not only fix the dump, as some like to say, particularly the compass, but will also look to bring about a sea change in the attitudes and behaviors of our people toward what we use and discard by ramping up recycling and composting efforts. Putting in place a proper waste treatment facility will take time, but it will be done properly under this administration. In the interim, we have also made dramatic improvements to the way the Georgetown landfill was being mismanaged. These improvements have included new equipment, such as 10 new garbage trucks and a compactor, as well as operational changes. These improvements will not only lessen the opportunity for fires to flare up, but have also returned domestic and commercial garbage collection to normal levels. Madam Speaker, this government continues to support local and international investors who, like us, want to develop and improve Cayman's economy. As I have indicated earlier, the stability and confidence that everyone in Cayman, including businesses and investors, feels with this government at the helm has helped immensely to allow projects to go forward, bring back jobs, and to grow the economy. While over the past 2 years we have been looking to attract new businesses and diversify the economy, property development has continued to be a main economic driver, which we expect to continue over the next several years. Recognizing this, we worked with and encouraged developers to bring forward plans that are good for Cayman and our people, but always ensured that we get the best deal possible. Where agreements were already in place, we renegotiated for a better deal, and we have been successful. In addition to its $309 million Kimpton Hotel project on 7 Mile Beach, DART has committed to invest $400 million in new infrastructure over the course of the next 10 years. The commitment is part of this government's renegotiated National Roads Authority agreement, which also contains DART's consent to forego receipt of the 50% hotel room tax they had negotiated under the UDP. The renegotiated agreement is one that provides a better deal for the country and allows DART Realty the ability to develop its properties and to see a reasonable return on its investment. but we believe the developments that DART is doing will be good for Cayman for many years to come. Madam Speaker, Health City in East End celebrated its first anniversary this year. This is a project that the Progressives supported from its inception when we sat on the side opposite. It's a project we continue to support as we have continued to work closely with the developer during construction and over the past year. Just this past May, Health City also received the coveted JCI Gold Seal of Approval, which will enable it to better attract patients from the United States. We will continue to work closely with Health City, not only as it expands its overseas patient base, but also as it plays an important role in saving lives right here in Cayman. Madam Speaker, Cayman Enterprise City is another entity that the Progressives has supported, particularly on the CEC's current management team. To date, CEC has enticed 140 companies to the Cayman Islands to set up physical staffed operations within the Special Economic Zone, and there are now approximately 251 people working there. Last year, I attended the Internet Marketing Association's conference in the United States to help promote CEC and Cayman, the outcome of which was an IMAC Leadership Summit in Cayman this year, and IMAC's plans for a larger conference next year. The potential for CEC and Cayman to benefit from this relationship by attracting IMAC members to do business in Cayman, while also increasing our tourism numbers, is promising. And last month, we announced that we had renegotiated and improved government's agreement with CEC to allow government flexibility in granting Cayman businesses the ability to enter segments previously locked down as zone businesses. Government has also partnered with CEC to introduce a maritime park that will serve to bring new business and jobs to Cayman. Madam Speaker, this government's support for business extends to local investors as well. This includes the Grand Palazzo, which will be a major Caymanian waterfront development on North Sound, providing jobs for Caymanians on all levels of the project. To further support businesses, we have been successful in the passage of much-needed and anticipated legislation, such as amendments to the Trade and Business Licensing Law, which leads to a more structured business licensing regime by allowing the Trade and Business Licensing Board to function more effectively, simplifying business registration, and curtailing illegal vending. In addition, changes to the liquor license law are being drafted and will update antiquated legislation that allows liquor licenses to be traded as commodities and makes it difficult or costly for those who want to open bars or restaurants. The second-hand dealers law was approved and is protecting consumers and businesses by putting strict regulations on pawn shops and those who have businesses that buy second-hand items like jewelry, electronics, and even metals like copper wire. Regulations include strict requirements to maintain records on the identity of sellers. It also dissuades pawn shops and metal buyers from being a first source to fence stolen items, which should in turn bring a reduction in break-ins and thefts. The law not only ensures that this segment is properly regulated, but it also serves as a tool to deter criminals and assist law enforcement in combating crime. Madam Speaker, the new exempted limited partnership law and regulations were implemented in August of last year. With the implementation of this law, the General Registry processed 2,900 applications, an increase of 22% in the number of new registrations over the previous year. An online system was developed, and as of last month, has 131 subscribers with 1,039 users. This legislation is important for financial services as it makes Cayman more competitive and positively impacts revenues to government and financial services industry jobs. Cayman's governmental framework for intellectual property is being updated in the areas of copyrights, trademarks, and patents. There are several notable benefits to modernizing Cayman's intellectual property protection, from safekeeping of locally created content to an increase in Cayman's attractiveness for foreign investment. It will also broaden local access to goods and services and has the potential for increased government revenue and creation of jobs for our people. Also helping us build a strong, thriving, and diverse economy is tourism. Our tourism numbers are growing at record levels, with key stayover numbers up by an impressive 10.84% in calendar year 2014 over the numbers in 2013, and with cruise tourism up 16.98% for the same period. To help support these growing numbers, this progressives-led government is making much-needed improvements to our airports and working diligently on cruise berthing facilities. The financial transaction model has been approved by Cabinet, and discussions with cruise lines on the financial transaction model are taking place. The environmental impact assessment for the cruise berthing facility has been completed and is now undergoing public consultation. Madam Speaker, I acknowledge that the environmental assessment has identified several issues, so the viability and economic benefits of cruise berthing must be understood and carefully weighed against those concerns. However, I must point out that unlike the cruise berthing plans under the UDP, this government committed and has delivered on its promise to ensure that a proper assessment of the environment was conducted before finalizing any cruise berthing plans. At Owen Roberts International Airport, we constructed a new temporary department lounge that accommodates 200 plus additional passengers and provides added departure gates and restrooms. This has given much needed relief to our own traveling public and visitors, while main airport improvements are being made. The master planning for the overall improvements has been done, and design plans are now being finalized for the airport itself. Work will begin this year on the new or the redeveloped airport. On Cayman Brac, the construction works to enhance the Charles Kirkconnell International Airport Terminal to full international airport standards was completed, and a ribbon cutting to mark the occasion took place on the 29th of January this year. The main improvements were security related and will bring the airport in line with United States Transportation Security Administration requirements and improve overall passenger comfort. They will also allow the airport to become classified as an international airport, allowing direct flights from the United States. Madam Speaker, in October 2014, Cayman Airways began enhanced air travel between Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac with the introduction of the 30-seat Embraer 120. Madam Speaker, with more and more people coming to our shores, it is imperative that we have proper infrastructure in place to keep our visitors and residents moving. Work is finished on the widening of Godfrey Nixon Way and has greatly smoothed out the traffic flow with its 3 lanes, 2 directional and a center lane, for turning into the numerous businesses along that bustling stretch of road. The improvements also include better sidewalks and a cycle lane, making the roadway safer for drivers, pedestrians, and cyclists. Godfrey Nixon Way will also be connected in the coming year to North Church Street. Similar work is planned on Smith Road this year as part of a master plan to improve traffic flows in Georgetown. Improvements to Smith Road will be similar to that done on Godfrey Nixon Way and will help reduce traffic delays. Smith Road will also be connected to Elgin Avenue with a new road, and Elgin will be connected to Eastern Avenue. All of these road changes will allow traffic to move more directly between these key roads without the necessity to enter central Georgetown. I thank everyone in this Honorable House and those listening and viewing these proceedings for their patience as ongoing roadworks progress. Madam Speaker, other roadworks planned involve improvements to Linford-Pearson Highway, which will have 4 lanes, and the widening of Thomas Russell Way, as well as improvements to Edward and 4th Streets. All of these roadworks are just part of government's overall $27 million plan to improve traffic flows in and out of Cayman's capital, and will serve as a launch ramp for the revitalization of Georgetown initiative. The lessons learned with these efforts in Georgetown can serve as a template for similar improvements in possible future efforts in other districts such as Bordentown or West Bay. Madam Speaker, government has approved changes to the speed limit along West Bay Road, reducing it to 30 miles per hour, as well as installing more pedestrian walkways and improving safety along the route by preventing the middle lane from being used to overtake. These road improvements will not only increase safety, but make it easier for commuters to travel as they go to and fro their jobs. And speaking of jobs, Madam Speaker, one of the accomplishments of which I am most proud is the Progressives-led government's stance on a national minimum wage. Ours is the first government to proactively take on a minimum wage regime, which we will implement from 1st of March next year. As stated in the Minimum Wage Committee report, about 2,700 Caymanians who are classed as low or very low wage earners will have their incomes increased through minimum wage. Madam Speaker, this government also established the School of Hospitality Studies in conjunction with the Cayman Islands Tourism Association and the University of the Cayman Islands. The first graduates will receive their certifications in June 2015, and the goal is for them to enter the job market with one of the school's private sector partners. In addition, government and Cayman Finance are working in partnership to offer education and work experience in the financial services industry for up to 50 Year 12 students in the dual enrollment government system. Madam Speaker, to help keep our people healthy and fit, the Department of Sports has held 52 programs throughout the various districts that benefited hundreds of children and adults. Those programs include club sports, after-school programs, and adult fitness sessions. At Savannah Primary School, facilities have been upgraded to allow greater community access for recreational and sporting activities. The Ministry of Sports will continue to upgrade sporting facilities, starting with works at the G. Haig Borden Playfield in Borden Town, with adequate changing room facilities and seating. Madam Speaker, we all know that mental health is also important to us as a country and a society. To that end, the government has approved plans for a long-term residential mental health facility. Madam Speaker, the health of our environment is also extremely important. The historic National Conservation Law was approved in December 2013, and the National Conservation Council has been working over the past year to put the necessary systems and measures in place to facilitate the full commencement of the law. To help ensure the safety of our foodstuffs, consultancy is underway for drafting a national food and nutrition security policy and implementation strategy, which provides the best fit for the Cayman Islands, as it not only addresses key agricultural issues, but also incorporates and touches on other key areas such as health and lifestyle issues, non-communicable diseases, environmental health, environment, planning, and tourism issues. Madam Speaker, in July 2014, the Department of Agriculture, working in conjunction with the United States Department of Agriculture, Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, Florida Department of Agriculture, and Consumer Services, and the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, successfully launched the Don't Pack a Pest program in the Cayman Islands, becoming the 5th country or territory in the Caribbean to participate in this key traveler education program. Madam Speaker, government has reestablished the Certificate for Specialist Caregivers for non-Caymanian workers hired by local families to take care of elderly, sick, or disabled patients. Under this legislation, they will be given up to a 10-year exemption from the term limit provisions of the Cayman Islands immigration law. Cabinet has also approved the country's first disabilities policy, ensuring that people with disabilities live with dignity, are respected, and participate in a full society. An interministerial committee is working towards implementation and legislation. Madam Speaker, I have just given the House a sample of our accomplishments in the first 2 years of this administration. The document I have presented today should be considered an addition to the 99-day report, which is entitled Getting Back on Course, and the first year report on course to get a solid glimpse of all that this progressive-led government has done. No one can deny that when we took over the helm of government, the country was, frankly, in a mess. We set our course to restore stability to the government and its finances, thereby restoring confidence while promoting economic growth. We made our plans, and not only have we stuck to them, we have consistently delivered progressive results. Now that stability has been restored, we will continue over the next 2 years and beyond to deliver strong, sustainable growth to ensure that all Caymanians and those who live and invest here benefit. Madam Speaker, I take inspiration from that great race car driver, Mario Andretti, the only driver to win the Daytona 500, the Indy 500, and Formula One World Championship, who said, and I quote, "Desire is the key to motivation, but it is determination and commitment to an unrelenting pursuit of your goal, a commitment to excellence that will enable you to attain the success you seek." Madam Speaker, the Progressives-led government has that desire, that determination, and that commitment to excellence. We have attained success, many achievements, in the short 2 years that we have been at the wheel of the good ship Cayman. But we are not finished, not by a long shot. We remain motivated to see our plans through the remainder of this term, and God and the people willing, into a second term. And so, Madam Speaker, it is with great pride that I have been able this morning to table in this Honorable House our midterm report titled "Steering a True Course." Because, Madam Speaker, that is precisely what this progressive-led government is doing. In the words of American entrepreneur Jim Rohn, it is the set of the sails, not the direction of the wind, that determines which way we will go. I thank you, Madam Speaker, for your attention.